Tonight, Rangers regret. The former owner, David Murray, speaks for the first time about how his sale of the Ibrox club led to its collapse.
Do you think you owe the Rangers fans an apology?
I have apologised. Yeah, but also I did a lot of good things for the club. But if you want to remember the negative, that's their choice.
Also making the headlines, let down by the NHS. The woman diagnosed with ADHD who is now being refused treatment by her doctors.
I'm at Glasgow airport for the big holiday getaway as thousands of Scots take off for sunnier shores.
And found inside one of Scotland's oldest ice rinks, thousands of vinyl records from the 1980s. I'm John Mackay. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. The former owner of Rangers has apologised for selling the club to Craig White, admitting it was a mistake. So David Murray sold the Ibrox side to the businessman for £1 in 2011, and a year later it went into liquidation. So David was also at the helm when Rangers gave £47 million in tax-free loans to players and staff. Reflecting on the financial scandal that led to the club's downfall, Murray said selling to White seemed to be the only course of action at the time. Our chief reporter Sharon Frew has the story, which contains flash photography.
Do you think you owe the Rangers fans an apology?
I have apologised. Yeah, but also I did a lot of good things for the club. But if you want to remember the negative, that's their choice.
Sir David Murray sat down for this interview to mark the publication of his autobiography. For the first time in 14 years, the businessman spoke of the highs and lows of his time at Ibrox, the boardroom battles, financial scandals and the fan revolt. One character in his Rangers story provided a plot twist that led to the club's ruin. This was the moment in 2011 when David Murray signed over Rangers to Craig White, a deal sealed with a £1 coin.
Craig White was a mistake. I'm prepared to admit that. But on the evidence of the money, what he was going to do, the legal documents, that seemed the only course of action at the time.
The club's use of employee benefit trusts, or EBTs, was dubbed the big tax case. Sir David Murray was at the helm when Rangers gave £47 million to players, managers and directors in tax-free loans. HMRC argued the payments were earnings and should be taxable. The Supreme Court ruled in favour of HMRC after an appeal.
Did the EBT scandal lead to Rangers' downfall?
That plus Craig White. The interpretation of EBT by HMRC and Craig White, that's what led to it, yes.
But today, some fans are unwilling to forgive the former Rangers owner for his role in the club's collapse.
I wouldn't accept his apology.
Why so?
Because I don't think he done the right thing. He ruined us. He ruined us. I don't care about what he done, the good stuff. What he done at the end ruined us.
They left him a sinking ship. Gutting, to be honest, but he put us through. I think he's partly responsible for a lot of stuff that happened to Rangers, so I'm quite not really happy.
I've spoken to the manager, the staff and supporters.
Rangers went into administration in 2012, a year after the sale. Craig White was later charged and cleared of taking the club over by fraud.
Did you have any regrets that day?
Obviously regrets, yes. Listen, everyone can be smart after events. In Scotland today, we've got so many keyboard warriors who are experts in everything, and they like to criticise. It's easy to stand on the touchline and criticise if you're not playing the game. I played the game.
Sharon Frew, STV News.
The UK government has confirmed it will make major changes to its welfare reform proposals following a planned rebellion by Labour backbenchers. Existing claimants will continue to receive what they currently get, with only new claimants now affected. But one Scottish Labour MP says he will still vote against the bill next week. Here's our political correspondent, Ewan Petrie.
People are petrified already, and the cuts haven't even come into play yet.
Lynn runs a charity supporting disabled people. She welcomes the change to welfare reform plans, which means only new claimants will now be affected. But while some payments are reserved to Holyrood, she remains worried it will create a two-tier system and leave many here worse off.
The PIP kind of changes will affect ADP, the adult disability payment. That's something that I'm on, something my child's on for the child disability payment. It's a social security payment. It's not a work, a return to work payment, etc. It will impact massively a lot of people here in Scotland.
We will unleash this potential.
The UK government hoped to save £5 billion a year by 2030. But faced with a rebellion that included a third of his Scottish MPs, the Prime Minister agreed to backtrack late last night.
We talked to colleagues who've made powerful representations, as a result of which we got a package which I think will work and we can get it right. And for me, getting that package adjusted in that way is the right thing to do. It means it's the right balance and it's common sense that we can now get on with it.
Will you now be backing this reform?
Absolutely not.
But some Labour MPs remain unconvinced.
What we've seen is the government moving position, but not moving nearly far enough. These concessions will still, I think, total in the region of about £3 billion, and it will still negatively impact, severely impact disabled people in society. I'm not signing up for that.
The government seems confident it has the numbers to get this through. Do you think it has?
I can only speak for myself, but I do know as well that there are many other colleagues that are not convinced by these concessions.
Number 10 is keen to paint this as evidence that it is listening to the concerns of MPs. But the uproar and the growing anger and frustration among a well-organised group of backbenchers left the Prime Minister with very little option. This is Keir Starmer's third major U-turn in the space of a month. And while he may have avoided defeat in next week's vote, his authority has suffered significant damage. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
The schools are closed and the summer getaway is underway for tens of thousands of Scots heading for some fun in the sun. Our reporter Raheem Cham is at Glasgow Airport this evening. And Raheem, how's it looking there?
Well, John, it's that time of the year again. The school holidays has officially kicked in and it has opened the floodgates for the summer getaway season. Now, it's a busy day at the airport. Officials say there are 110 flights departing Glasgow today. That's around 10,000 passengers. Travelers are being advised to get here early, at least 3 hours before departure. Now, the mood here is very upbeat. Families are heading off, looking forward to some sunshine and beaches.
We're going to Rhodes and I'm just excited to go on holiday for the first time. So yeah, I'm really excited.
On a flight to California to meet Mickey, Minnie and Donald and Goofy. My mummy's a fan of Peach. Lanzarote. And my activities for the plane.
We are off on a hen do. We are going to Spain. We're going to Benalmadena.
We're going to Marbella. And we're going to be going to the swimming pool, going to jet skis. It's going to be class.
Now, while most travelers are in high spirits, the ongoing conflict in the Middle East has actually raised some concerns. Now, during recent retaliatory strikes by Iran on U.S. military bases, countries like Bahrain and Qatar had to temporarily close their airspaces. Now, this actually raises the question, is it safe to travel over countries like Iran and Israel, considering what many call a fragile ceasefire?
What's happened in the Middle East has certainly had an impact on people's destinations, but the information that we are receiving is that it's still safe to go to these destinations. So if you're looking for a bargain, then you will see a better price for the likes of Turkey, Cyprus, Egypt. They're all very hot at this time of year, of course, as well, so that needs to be a consideration. But as far as safety goes, they are safe to go to.
But it's not all about departures. Not everyone is actually trying to escape Glasgow. Some tourists are also coming in. Scotland is a tourist destination of its own right. So I've been speaking to some tourists and they're all saying something similar, which is they are here to see some castles, lochs and Highland hikes.
So we went to the Crieff Hydro Resort and we did axe throwing, archery, air rifles, and then we also went to some palaces.
I'll be going to Highlands. And yeah.
We've got a road trip planned.
Road trip, yeah, planning a ladies trip.
We're gonna go to Highlands.
I'm looking forward to see my granny's dogs.
Just here to have some good food,
Yeah, good quality time with the family, enjoy the weather.
Let's hope they enjoy the full Scottish summer experience. Now, and if you're heading off, here are some heads up. Still to come is the busiest day of Glasgow with the traditional Glasgow Fair fortnight just around the corner. Now, on the 14th of July, a record is about to be set. 113 flights will be jetting off from Glasgow Airport. We're talking about 15,000 passengers heading off to 52 different destinations. And amongst these most popular destinations are Dubai, Palma, Paris, and also Tenerife. Now, so wherever you're going, whether it's sun, sightseeing, stay home, stay safe, and enjoy your holidays.
Sound advice, Raheem at Glasgow Airport. Thank you. Let down by the NHS. That's how one Lanarkshire woman is feeling after she was privately diagnosed with ADHD, but is now being refused treatment by her doctors. She's forking out hundreds of pounds every month to cover the cost of her vital medication, despite being initially told her GP offered a shared care arrangement. It comes as the Scottish Government launched an inquiry into treatment and support for the condition. Vanessa Taff has more.
So this is the medication that I'm paying for currently, so it costs about £200 a month.
It should be free on the NHS, but the cost of this ADHD medicine is coming from Gemma's own pocket.
And how are you affording that?
I just need to work more, which isn't ideal.
After going for a private assessment, Gemma was diagnosed with ADHD, but her GP practice refused to provide the meds and aftercare she needed, despite assurances they offered the support.
It's very disheartening, and I just feel ADHD doesn't get treated in the way that other conditions get treated. If I had depression, high blood pressure, you have treatment right away, whereas with ADHD the door's shut, and there's such a stigma across it. Honestly, in that moment I felt like I was back at square one, and I was left with no route of care.
Gemma isn't the only one who has forked out hundreds of her own money to get a diagnosis. Scottish autism bodies found 1 in 5 people sought this privately. The average cost was £1,540, with some people paying £4,500. Despite this, people had a more satisfactory experience of private or third sector assessments than going through the NHS.
There's really inconsistency across Scotland. So in some areas, diagnosis services are much more available than in others. It's a bit of a postcode lottery in that respect. And as well, the support services that accompany that or follow diagnosis are also really inconsistent across Scotland. And just this year, we're actually hearing about assessment and diagnostic pathways that are closing.
Gemma has set up a support group for others with ADHD who need additional help. NHS Lanarkshire told us it would be inappropriate for them to comment on a case that is being considered by the Ombudsman. But it's a battle Gemma is prepared to fight. Vanessa Taff, STV News in Lanarkshire.
First Bus is running extra services to get people around Glasgow because of a strike by the city's subway workers. Unite union members are taking industrial action over pay and conditions. The transport body, SPT, says it's committed to seeking a resolution. The subway will also be shut tomorrow.
We're always open and ready to negotiate, but you need to come to the table. You need to come with a proper set of plans on how to resolve this dispute. As you'll know, the interim offer last weekend was rejected overwhelmingly. And it was rejected because our members don't want a sticking plaster, they want resolution.
Texas are still in demand after almost 40 years in the music business and performing at festivals this summer. Our entertainment reporter Laura Boyd has been chatting to singer Charlene Spiteri ahead of their only Scottish date this month.
Charlene, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
Just ahead of a mad summer for you.
Oh, it's not mad. I'm laughing. I'm calling it my 4-day week. My 4-day week tour.
That's the dream.
It's the total dream. I said to the family, I was like, I'm working Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. Any other day I don't want you to annoy me because I'll be recuperating. What are we doing? 30 gigs, 30 festivals.
And some brilliant festivals in there, including, I can't be biased, but Belladrum is probably my favourite festival in the world.
It's great.
So
it's such
nice.
a good festival, and you know, the last time we played, I think it was 2011. And I have to say I'm really proud that we were in there quite early and that we've been invited back. I feel very privileged, and I know us as a band feel very privileged to have had such a long career. It's not been easy. There's been times where we have had to dig in so hard. You know, you have got to have that arrogance. You really have to have that, like, yeah, we are the best. I want to be the best. I want us to be one of the best bands ever. And I take great pride, and I know we do as a band, take great pride in making sure that happens. I remember when we started it, my aim was, if we can have one hit record, I'll die happy.
When you come back to Glasgow and to Scotland, what do you like doing when you're here, when you're not working?
I go with my sisters, get in last night after rehearsals, and she got a pot of soup on, bit of plain bread, buttered, dipping it in. Oh, you're just like going, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, you can say what you want, but it won't change my mind. I feel the same about you.
More from Texas and what's on Scotland at 7. The first voices listeners will hear on STV's new radio service have been revealed. Kat Harvey and Ewan Cameron will host the station's breakfast show. The name of the new radio station, expected to launch later this year, has still to be announced. Lewis Capaldi is back on stage after a 2-year gap. Capaldi played Glastonbury earlier this evening, the same stage where he last performed before taking a break from touring after being diagnosed with Tourette's. It's good to see him back. I'm not making the same link here, am
I? STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
There's a good reason why the director cut him off. Good evening. Delighted and excited, the words of Brendan Rodgers after Swedish international Benjamin Nygren signed for Celtic on a 5-year contract. The winger, who's joined from Northland in a £1.3 million transfer, says he can't wait to show the supporters his attacking prowess. Our roundup of today's football news begins with the very latest at Celtic. Benjamin Nygren is Celtic's third summer signing, and he's an addition that should excite the supporters, so says Brendan Rodgers. Capped 4 times by Sweden, Nygren can play on the left or right wing. With Jota out long-term through injury and doubts over Nicholas Kuhn's future, Rodgers was keen to add to his attacking options. Signed from Danish side Northland, the 23-year-old has also had spells in Sweden, Belgium and the Netherlands. At Hibs, David Gray says the club have signed one of the most eye-catching players in the Premiership last season, with former Dundee midfielder Josh Mulligan joining on a 4-year contract. The news comes less than 24 hours after Rocky Bashiri committed his future to Easter Road, signing a 3-year contract, while Nathan Mariah Welsh has left the club for Mansfield Town. Meanwhile, ahead of Livingston's return to the Premiership, Marvin Bartley has rejoined their coaching staff. In the Championship, after being named Partick Thistle's new assistant head coach, Alex Rae says he's looking forward to his new challenge, that after being sacked as first-team coach at Rangers in February.
I wasn't in any rush, I didn't apply for anything, and then when it presented itself I was happy to win, because the one thing I know about myself is I love a challenge. I've took some jobs over the years, Blackpool, Notts County and Reading were in, kind of financial restrictions as well. When I took it, we were involved there with Paul Ince, so I'm familiar with difficult challenges.
And at Dumbarton, after going into administration last year, then being relegated to League Two, their new owner believes he can bring financial stability at the club.
If I can hold the rate of burning, for let's say 7 or 8 years, but no, I don't want to throw money into the ground like this. June 2026, that would be when we start digging this ground and put a turf on. I believe by the end of the second season, in other words, you should be back to par.
Tennis and Jacob Fairley and Cameron Norrie have learned who they'll face in the first round at Wimbledon. Fairley has a tough task. He will take on talented Brazilian teenager João Fonseca, while Norrie has been drawn against veteran Roberto Bautista Agut. To rugby, and Rory Dard says he doesn't need extra motivation to perform for Scotland. That's despite missing out on being selected for the British and Irish Lions squad. Dard has been named captain for Scotland's 3-match tour of New Zealand and Fiji this summer. 7 Scots are in the Lions squad, while Xander Fagerson withdrew due to injury.
I'll definitely be watching those games with a sort of, keen eye and seeing how the Scottish guys get on and wishing them well. But we've just got really important games, and there's a lot mentally that preoccupies your mental side of things, which is obviously prepping for Test match rugby. So for me it's not necessarily a motivator, but if guys want to use it, then for sure.
Curling, and Bruce Mowat says Team GB have a good chance of claiming gold at the Winter Olympics if they can recreate their recent magic. Meanwhile, Scotland's women's curlers are also going for gold in Milan, led by Olympic debutante Rebecca Morrison. Here's Stephanie Daly.
Focused on his second Olympic Games, Bruce Mowat has his mind set on turning his 2022 Beijing silver into gold in Milan next year. And as he leads his rink to Italy as defending world champions, he's relishing the tag of being the team to beat.
It's been incredible. Since the last Olympics, we've had 2 world championships in our back, and then winning 10 Grand Slams up to this date is pretty special. So we're in a very good spot, and the guys and I are hopefully going to be able to recreate that magic that we had last season into the one with the Olympics in it. People are obviously going to try and raise their games to play against you, but also knowing that if we go onto the ice and play the best that we can play, the chances are good that we're going to win the games.
Mowat will partner Jen Dodds in the mixed event, who will head to Milan as Team GB's only defending champion, having won gold in Beijing as part of Eve Muirhead's rink. Now adding her experience to Rebecca Morrison's team, Dodds' hopes are high.
I think we've worked so hard on the areas that we knew we needed to work on. Just for example, communication. You're always working on communication. You're never perfect at it, and I think that is one key for us from over the last couple of seasons that we have really worked on, and we're seeing sort of the rewards for it now. And hopefully that will keep progressing over the 8 months and just keep working on the little things.
Especially with them winning gold in 2022, obviously we've got a target on our backs, and we've got a medal that we want to reclaim. So yeah, it's really exciting, but also a lot of countries are going to be gunning for us.
Stephanie Daly, STV Sport.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
That, folks, is all your sport tonight. Have a great weekend. See you again next week. John.
Roland, thank you. Straight to the weather forecast with Sean.
Outbreaks of ancient sites will gradually settle into an evening pizza plates al fresco. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Very good evening to you. Now, given the schools are starting to break up for the summer holidays, I thought it'd be worth pointing out the intense extreme heat that's building across parts of France. About 40 degrees Celsius the next couple of days in some spots, but it's southern Spain and the south of Portugal where temperatures could peak around 45 degrees in the next couple of days. So extreme intense heat in some parts of Europe just now. Looks of Spain's on course for the warmest June on record. We tap into a bit of that warmth. I think temperatures for us probably around North Lanarkshire peaking 24-25 on Monday before it starts to turn a bit fresher. We've got that heat wave across England as well, where temperatures there could be into the low 30s in some spots. Now, talking of warm, it's going to be a humid and muggy night to come tonight. That rain we've seen around today has been a little warm front drawing in the warm air, and that's trapped with us tonight. So a humid night to come, temperatures staying in the high teens, despite the fact it stays quite damp overnight. Now, I've got good news for you during the weekend. There's going to be a lot of dry, sunny weather during tomorrow. We start off with cloud and outbreaks of rain, central and southern parts. Clears away southwards. Lots of sunshine in the afternoon. Highs 18 or 19 degrees Celsius. If you can get out of the breeze tomorrow, it shouldn't feel too bad in that sunshine. And hopefully a cracker of an evening at Bellahouston Park for the Stereophonics, because it should be dry, bright, temperatures about 16 degrees Celsius. So a fine evening to come as well. Sunday, we will see a bit more cloud, but still warm and bright, especially further east. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
A vast collection of vinyl records is going up for auction after being discovered at one of Scotland's oldest ice rinks. More than 16,000 records by artists such as The Cure, Depeche Mode and New Order were uncovered after lying untouched for years. Laura Piper has more.
For decades, these records remained hidden, locked away in an old DJ booth in Murrayfield Ice Rink. They used to be played out at popular disco nights. Now they're being auctioned off alongside other unique items from the venue's history.
So Gillian, tell me, what are we holding up right now?
So this is the original DJ door, which was up in the cupola where we discovered a whole bunch of the original vinyl that was played during the 70s, 80s and 90s discos. It was well known as a place to come like if you were a teenager, and yeah, there was a lot of good times had, I think, at Murrayfield Ice Rink at these discos. So there's a huge amount of, I think, love for the building and for the history and the music here, yeah.
The team hope this vinyl will now raise funds to refurbish the rink with help from specialist auctioneers.
Nobody had went in it for about 30 years, so it was like going back in time, walking through the door, and they had 12 inches and 7 inches singles all over the place, and then they had another area where that was like the gold stuff was. They're all quite unique because a lot of them are DJ pressings, advanced copies, artists like The Cure, Depeche Mode, New Order, that's what people are after. And then obviously you've got all your genres are there. Everything from heavy metal right through to disco.
Basically the soundtracks of our youth, which some of us are still looking to relive.
This is the place where memories were made, where you came on your first date, where you came on a Friday night disco with your friends. And this was also the place that served as the backdrop to some of the greatest musical hits of our time.
Top tracks that will now hopefully help secure this building's future for generations of disco fans, no matter their ability on the dance floor. Laura Piper, STV News, Edinburgh.
Now that's what you call music. From us here, thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Good night.